Single for the weekend? What is going on? That would have me ready to fight Grandma. Now, I'm all for saving money, but it gets to a point, and I hope this is not an indication of how their marriage is gonna be. Boy, this is some drama. Hello, little enzymes. Welcome back to Dacia's Digest. Today's video is all about wedding drama. All of the information will be included in the description. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Today, we will be reading all of the stories from the wedding drama subreddit specifically. Yeah. So, a lot of craziness to get through. Let's just go ahead and start. First story, my wedding was beautiful, but the drama was unreal. So my wedding day was everything I dreamed of when it came to marrying my best friend, but let's just say the chaos surrounding it deserves its own reality show. It started with my grandma, Jackie, who lied about her cake making skills. I wanted a simple, elegant, 2-layer cake with minimal frosting and some soft sparkle accents, saying just married. My colors were dusty blue, champagne, and rose gold. What I got instead looked like a gender reveal cake. Hot blue and hot pink glitter everywhere in a tie-dyed pattern. It was so bad we didn't even do a cake cutting. Now, sis, you ain't asked your grandma Jackie if she had seen any examples that she could have showed to you? This is your wedding day. I'm sure Grandma Jackie probably gave you a family discount, but I guess you get what you pay for. Not a gender reveal cake. She said, then came the maid of honor drama. My maid of honor, Sophie, was an hour late to the bachelorette, even though she promised to help set up, and then went to bed early, ignoring everyone in the wedding party. During that trip, she made a weird comment about how I'd tried to set her up with my husband's brother, Eric, a couple of years ago. My matron of honor, Noelle, tried to steer the conversation elsewhere by mentioning that Eric's been in a relationship for over a year. That's when Sophie laughed and said, well, since my boyfriend couldn't come, I told him I was single for the weekend. Yo, single for the weekend? She said, who does that? Joking or not, that's some seriously questionable behavior to even mention. On the wedding day itself, Sophie, the maid of honor, was an hour and a half late and made another bridesmaid late too, since she was her ride. She barely helped at all, maybe 10 to 20 minutes total, but was telling people that she set everything up. Then during the first dance with my mom, she actually pulled the photographers aside to tell them that she was the most important person in the wedding party. My now husband overheard and told her right then and there she is no longer the maid of honor and to stop distracting them. After that, Sophie decided she was leaving and took the bridesmaid who relied on her for a ride, even though that bridesmaid didn't want to leave. Meanwhile, my husband's grandmother, Casey, decided out of nowhere that we could no longer use the house we were all getting ready in, which she doesn't even own. It's shared between siblings. So we had to clear everything out and suddenly had to find new bathrooms. The woods became our backup plan, and luckily I had some toilet paper in my car from our last camping trip. Yo, what is going on? To top it off, some of my stuff went missing after I left Sophie, the maid of honor, in charge for a bit. My body glitter, some flowers, and a ton of hair products just vanished. Oh, and my husband and one of his groomsmen got into a car accident that morning. They were thankfully okay and only a scratch on the front and back bumper. By lunchtime, people were snapping at me left and right because they were stressed and I just happened to be in the way. I had a full-on panic attack and had to walk off for about 30 minutes. Then my now husband's other grandma, Betty, told us she didn't bring his grandfather, Drake, because it's outside and he's in a wheelchair. This was after the ceremony, the only thing he really wanted him to watch. Oh my gosh. We asked her multiple times if she needed help getting him here, and she still did that. I was so livid. I called her out and told her she was a selfish person for taking away probably his only chance to see one of his grandchildren get married. For context, he has had 3 to 4 strokes, but he can now walk short distances and feed himself again, and he is very coherent and knows what's happening and going on. His grandpa had a whole speech prepared for the dinner as well, and he didn't know he wasn't going until the day of. That would have me ready to fight grandma. Me and grandma would have had to duke it out in the back for real. Are you kidding me, lady? That's crazy. That's sad too. Making him miss out on the opportunity to see his grandson get married. And obviously, it meant a lot to OP's husband for the grandfather to be there. I would have tried to FaceTime him so he could still do his speech, like over FaceTime or something. That's just messed up. That's messed up. She said, but honestly, once I was in the arms of my husband, everything else just faded away. The second we were together, it all felt right again. The day might have been chaos, but the marriage started perfectly. We have the ceremony recorded, so once we get that back, I was going to send it to his grandpa, Drake, and make him a DVD copy so he can watch it on the TV. Wow. Somebody said, I take it Sophie is still single, and if any man has anything to do with it, staying that way. Sophie, the maid of honor. OP said, Sophie and her boyfriend just celebrated 1 year together a month before the wedding. Actually, that's the crazy part. Ooh, somebody said, I wonder if Casey, the grandma who owned or who basically was allowing them to use the house that they were getting ready in, right? Was that the grandma? Yeah, husband's grandmother. I wonder if she saw Sophie snooping around looking for things to steal, and that's when she closed up the house. Sophie left right after, right? She knows she was caught. I'm sorry your ex-friend is a jealous klepto. And for her to be the maid of honor too, that's crazy. Like, you think you know a person. You think you know, man, when I get married, I just hope it's a smooth day. I really just hope it's a smooth day, child. Because all of this, But my sister will probably be my maid of honor. My sister and also my best friend. So if they have anything to say about it, I should be good. I should be okay. Anyway, the next story. Is it me or is this problematic? First, I'd like to say that if I'm wrong, I'll accept it. I'm older and I know that a lot has changed, even from a few years ago when I got hitched. Here's the issue. My husband's niece is getting married, and I just learned this 3 days ago. The wedding is on October 31st. We did not receive an invitation, a text message, a Facebook or Instagram message, nothing. We heard about it when my partner's parents were here for dinner. The wedding is at 8:30 a.m. in a town 2 hours from here. The family has rented a huge Airbnb with only 2 bathrooms for the bride, groom, wedding party, and family. We would be sleeping on the sofa. The mother of the bride is offended when I said I'd be getting a hotel. Then she put in parentheses, if I go. I mean, we haven't been invited at this point. If it's one thing I'm gonna do is be comfortable. And I'm gonna pay whatever I have to pay to get the level of comfort that I desire. And if you telling me we're gonna be in a huge Airbnb, mind you, she did say huge, but only 2 bathrooms for the bride, groom, wedding party, and the family. And y'all gonna be drinking at the reception. It's gonna be people trying to blow up the bathroom. Then you gotta think about all those people getting ready for the wedding, makeup and all that stuff. You best believe I would be considering to get a hotel. This whole thing sounds thrown together already. The fact that they didn't even get an invite, the whole thing just sounds chaotic. She said, my husband called the mother of the bride, his sister. She says there's no dress code except dark academia costumes. I own nothing in this aesthetic that fits these days, and it's a little late to buy anything. The venue the couple has chosen does not allow weddings, so they have booked it for a business meeting, even though the bride will show up in a long white wedding gown. What kind of... Now, I'm all for saving money, but it gets to a point. It really gets to a point because now you're risking that the wedding might not even happen. You risking the cops showing up and the whole thing being shut down. She said there's a very real possibility of the entire event getting kicked out of the venue. And the family thinks that would be absolutely hysterically funny. Am I the crazy one? I don't want any part of this and can think of a dozen things I'd rather do on Halloween than get up early in the morning and get kicked out of a venue. We technically have not received an invite, but the bride's mother was clear that she'll be offended if we don't attend. I can sit this one out, right? Oh, child, this sounds like a mess from the start. I mean, at the very least, it will be entertaining. So Just because of that, I might go. At the very least, it would be entertaining. If I really didn't have nothing to do on a on a Friday morning, let's go. Somebody said selfishly, I want you to go so you can report back the drama. This is insane. That's what I'm saying. Like, I would just be there for the drama. I already know it's not going to go well. Somebody said, you haven't been invited? Definitely. If you do get an invitation, just say you already have plans. It's less than 2 weeks away. Opie responded, it feels so haphazard. Supposedly today's phone call counts as an invite, but I'm super disinclined. The mother of the bride isn't the bride, last time I heard. Right. Yeah, the invite should be coming from the bride and the groom. Yeah. Somebody said, I'm sorry, but this sounds like an absolutely amazing event to be a bystander with no real emotional ties to the bride and groom. This is a story you could dine out on for years. Opie said, I attended a wedding like that once. It was like something out of a movie, with the bride getting hospitalized for alcohol poisoning the night before and having to leave against medical advice in order to make it to her own wedding. Crazy drama from start to finish. Wow. So there is an edit on this one. It says, edit, I just woke up and I'm a little overwhelmed at how many replies I have. I promise I will read them all after coffee. Briefly though, the question was, does this count as an invitation? The overwhelming response is that even with fairly relaxed rules around these things, it doesn't. And that's a huge relief to me. Second, several people have asked how my husband feels about this. He seems to think it's perfectly normal. He absolutely plans to attend. And finally, for the person who said I'm expressing obvious disdain for the couple, that's not true. I barely know them. I have no problem with a wedding that wants people to come in costume. And if my brief Google search is any indication, it's a look I could really get behind, but not in a week and a half. Hubby's niece attended my wedding in a very cute steampunk burlesque outfit, and my 80-year-old dad wore his old bagpiper's regalia when he walked me down the aisle. Okay, so that was the edit, and then there is an update. Update, first, you'll have to understand that this is taking place through the lens of my husband, who thinks weddings are boring and that his mother and sister can do no wrong. I'm at the age where an appointment with one's cardiologist takes precedence over nearly anything else. I kept that appointment. Oh, did she have an appointment on the day? She didn't mention that. She said mother of the bride called at about noon on the 30th to ask if we would be attending the rehearsal dinner. We didn't know there was one. Husband decided to drop everything and go. The family had not selected a restaurant nor made reservations. This whole thing is sounding like a shit show. Every little detail is so last minute, so thrown together, just so shaky. And I hope this is not an indication of how their marriage is going to be, because, geez, it's not going to last. It's not. They had not selected a restaurant nor made reservations. They all ended up driving from place to place until they found somewhere able to seat 12 people plus a baby. And they ended up at what I consider one of the worst restaurants on the Oregon coast. After dinner, mother of the bride and grandmother of the bride were affronted that husband had booked a hotel rather than staying at the Airbnb they had booked, where he would have had to sleep on the couch and share a bathroom with 12 other people. Halloween, the day of the wedding, the entire wedding party and entourage had to get up ungodly early for their meeting, which was reserved. Oh yeah, because I forgot they said that they booked the venue as a business meeting instead of as a wedding. They had to get up early for their meeting, which was reserved for 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. It was raining hard, and the entire party got soaked just getting from the parking lot to the car. There was a total of 14 people there for the meeting, including the baby, which cried the whole time and was not taken out to the hallway. The bride wore a T-length black dress. The groom wore a shirt with a collar and chinos. Most guests did not do anything like dark academia. I think that's unfortunate because the bride really wanted that. However, the short notice and with the average age of guests being well over 60, I'm not surprised. The ceremony was brief and was followed by a buffet breakfast. Staff at the venue were extremely polite, but afterward, the groom was pulled aside and cordially invited to never come back, as was the mother of the bride. Only problematic because the groom would really, really like to work there someday. Overall, it sounds like everything went as smoothly as could be expected. While I absolutely love weddings, I'm glad I sat this one out. We never received an invitation. Mother of the bride and grandmother of the bride are offended that I wasn't there, but I think that's a them problem, not a me problem. Thank you all for your lively, scathing, and witty responses to my original post. That is a mess. That is an absolute mess. But hey, if they're happy, I'm happy. Next story. Groom family refuses to come to the wedding. My fiance, 29 male, and I, 26 female, had been together for almost 3 years and engaged for about a year. We knew we didn't want a big wedding, but didn't really know what we wanted to do, but we had some ideas of a destination wedding or a cruise or just something small in my parents' backyard. My fiance, let's call him Paul, had talked to his mother, let's call her Shannon, and sister, let's call her Karen, about the potential for these plans, and they seemed like it would be okay. His sister is a school teacher and lived in another state about 9 hours away. She has made a comment before about how she didn't care if we did a cruise, and it wound up being during the school year, important for later on. We were still undecided until we had planned a family cruise with my side of the family for October 2026, and the wedding chapel turned out to be on the same floor as our cabin. So it sounds like separate from the wedding, her family's side planned to do a cruise. And ironically, the wedding chapel was on the same floor as their cabin. Now she put October 2026. I think she might have meant to put October 2025. Otherwise, I don't know how she would know where the wedding chapel was in relation to the cabin. I've never heard of cruises doing tours. So I think that was a typo. So I think I get what's happening here. They were on a cruise separate from the whole wedding thing, the OP's family. Okay, so she said, and the wedding chapel turned out to be on the same floor as our cabin, which just seemed to be the sign we were looking for. We talked about it, and it was the first time we were excited about a wedding plan. We obviously already booked, and so did my parents, sisters, 2 aunts, cousins, and pretty much anyone who would have been invited from my side of the family. The wedding was not the initial reason we booked the cruise. We booked just to have a family vacation, and when we noticed the chapel was on our floor, we thought it would be a great plan and reached out to his mom and sister the day we decided that would be what we would want to do. Okay, I get it now. So maybe October 2026 is the actual date, and somehow maybe they saw in a brochure or on a website or a virtual tour, I don't know, somehow they realized that the chapel is going to be on the same floor. So OP's family already had the cruise booked for everyone in her family who would even be invited to the wedding. So they're basically just trying to morph the family vacation into the wedding event. I see. So she said, we booked through a travel agent who had reached out and said there was a really good sale for rooms right now, but only for the weekend. We got all the prices and sent them to both his mom and sister. His mom agreed to go, saying she wouldn't miss her son getting married. His sister didn't get back to us right away and then said that the ship doesn't have much for her daughter to do, who will be 4 at the time we sail. I had sent her everything the ship had to offer for children, a children's center, pools, slides, arts and crafts, outdoor movies, etc., and heard nothing. She later reached out to Paul and said it was too expensive for them, in which we countered and said we would help pay their way along with helping to pay for his mom to be there. Crickets. I had texted her asking if we would push off the wedding until the summer of 2027, if that would be better for her, and I got, depends when and if we have another baby. And also, the price is a lot and there isn't much for my daughter to do, in which we decided to just let it go for the time being. Since his sister wasn't going, his mom then backed out as well. I mean, it sucks for sure. At the same time, some people just don't like, you have to, if you're okay. Typically when people go to weddings, they just have to, pay for their outfit. A lot of people already have an outfit, but typically they just show up. They're not really having to come out of pocket a whole lot. A wedding gift of probably $100, something like that. An outfit, maybe another $100, but a cruise, that's like probably a few thousand, and then you have to take time off from work, be out at sea for several days. It's not just like a wedding that for a typical American, I'm guessing that's where they are, is going to be one day, maybe two with the rehearsal and stuff. So I do get why the sister is being so apprehensive. On the other hand, they did say that they would help her cover the cost. So that kind of takes care of like one of her problems. But she's saying that, there's not enough for her daughter to do. I don't have no kids. I can imagine, I do have nieces and nephews, so I can imagine how, a children's center, a pool, slides, arts and crafts, and movies, all that could be done in one day. And a kid could be tired of doing all that, so it's like, I do see how maybe that could not be enough entertainment for a kid they didn't say how long the cruise was going to be. But if it was already planned as a family vacation, I'm assuming it was at least going to be 3-4 days. So I get both sides. And when you're planning a destination wedding, that's the risk you take. Some people are going to be able to come and some people just are not. And some people maybe don't want to. As I said, you have to take into account people having to take time off, be away from, their home for a certain amount of time, or it's just a lot of factors involved. So I'm seeing both sides. Maybe they could have a separate, smaller ceremony where they live that the sister could attend, and the mother, because now the mother has backed out, where the mother could attend as well. Or they could just get rid of the idea of having the wedding on the cruise altogether and just go with their original idea of having it just be a family vacation. That's also a possibility, if they're really concerned about them coming. Otherwise, it's their wedding. They can really choose what they want to do, but they also have to live with the consequences if some people decide not to come and participate. She said, fast forward to this past weekend, we received another message from the travel agent who said they found a cheaper insurance for everyone in the group and it would save money. And we got the prices yet again and reached back out to his mother and sister with no reply at all. My mom had sent a message to his mom just saying how much we really wanted to get married on the ship and we really want everyone to be there, and asked if she could talk to his sister about it and try and see where the holdup was. Her response, I have a sick cat. I cannot commit to that right now. Paul and I have been talking a lot about it and we just didn't understand why they refused to go on a free vacation that we would be getting married on and keep giving us different excuses each time we talk to them or just blatantly ignore our messages. Oh, so they were going to pay for it outright? Well, shoot. I don't know. Maybe they just really don't like cruises. I don't know. I've been on one cruise. It was Virgin Voyages. Best experience. People always say once you go on Virgin Voyages, you'll never want to be on another cruise line. So perhaps it's the cruise line. Perhaps it's she doesn't want to feel dependent on them because they're paying for the whole thing. Perhaps it's she doesn't want to be in that small cabin room with her 4-year-old for 4 days or how long. Some people are scared of water. I really don't know. It is a little bit odd that they're just not replying. At the same time, it sounds like they have their own things going on in life. I don't know, at least reply to something. It's a little odd. She said, we were at the point of just telling them we were doing it and they can be there if they want to because it's really coming off as they don't want to be there. So 2 days ago, we sent a message. Hi there. I just wanted to reach out again regarding the cruise. Paul and I have been talking and would really love to get married on the ship. I know we had offered to help pay for it before, if that's one of the factors holding you guys back, and that still stands. Sister, I know you had concerns that there wouldn't be things for niece to do, but they do have a kids center and my nephew will be there and my cousin's daughter who will be around 3 when we go, so she should have some friends to play with as well. My aunt has also offered to help for a day where she can help keep her entertained. If you guys aren't able to make it, then we are still planning on having a party when we come back to celebrate and can play the video there if you could make it to that. Okay, then okay. That seems very reasonable. They see all of the issues that she brought up and they presented her with a lot of solutions. There's going to be other kids there, along with the kids' activities on the cruises. And even one of the aunts is offering to watch the daughter for at least a day. Now they really don't have. This whole time I've been trying to understand both sides, but now it just don't. What is it? Okay, if you're scared of the water, if you can't swim, if you we're at this point, I feel like they deserve a response because they keep reaching out and there's no response. Okay, so this was the response. His sister, Karen, said, "My husband and I do not have that much time off." Okay, see, and that's one of the things that I was thinking that it might be. She said, "We have to use our time very wisely because he has less time off than I do. Although, yes, the price is high, passports are an added expense. I also will not take my daughter to an area that has a high crime rating. Last I heard and knew, Honduras is not a good place. Also, not to be rude, but that fact that you would continue to get married without his side present is just nuts and inconsiderate. Yes, keep the wedding small is a great idea. Having a party is a great idea, but we are more than happy to come home for a short weekend, like I told Paul." Then Opie responded, "Well, we had also offered to move it to 2027, and at that time you mentioned you still weren't sure you'd be able to go. Even if we were at port, you wouldn't have to get off the ship if that's a concern. We just wanted everyone to have the option." I see what she's saying there, but then to, the sister's point, that still doesn't change the amount of PTO that they have. And if they feel like they want to save it, Opie said, "We had sent a few messages to you, but didn't hear back, so we weren't sure where things stood. This really isn't just me pushing for the cruise. Paul truly wants this too. We even offered to cover the costs so you could be there because having everyone together means a lot to us. But at the same time, we can't keep putting our lives on hold and wait until it's convenient for everyone." The sister responded, "The year doesn't matter. I didn't respond because you would get the hint. No one is saying put lives on hold until it's convenient. Nothing is ever perfect. But if you really want someone to be a part of something, you don't tell them you can see a video at a party. If y'all really wanted a cruise, get married before and then go on the boat." That's a good idea too. She said, "Did my husband and I want to get married on our original date? Yes. Did we think about going to the courthouse in the state we live in? Yes. But the fact of being with both of our families kept us from doing that because we wanted both of our parents and my brother to be present." Then the mother said, "My heart will be broken not to see my son get married, especially since his father is dead." God damn. "I don't want this to create a rift between them. Deceased dad and I always wanted them to be close, so when the last one dies, they can support each other. I don't want to go to Honduras or Belize. If it was somewhere else, I would have considered it. Why can't you get married before the cruise and just have the parents and siblings go to dinner and then have your party after the cruise? I know Paul will be studying for his big exam, but for one day. And when would this party be? His fire company friends are still waiting for an invite and housewarming. Guess that doesn't matter. And I know you guys would say they would be invited to the party." Opie said, "Can we have a group call, please?" I mean, as I said, I'm really seeing both sides. And I feel that the mother and the sister are throwing out some valid points. And again, like I said, at the end of the day, if you decide to have your wedding a certain way and some people are unable to come, that's the risk that you take. It's up to you whether or not you want to try to accommodate more people or not. And if you don't, that's your choice. You can do that. But again, if some people can't come, that's just the price you pay. Opie said, "Can we have a group call?" She said, "At this point, I had called his sister and mother and got them in a conference call with Paul aside of me." Another thing I don't like is the fact that OP is the one doing all the communication with the mother and the sister on her fiance's side. I feel like her fiance should be the one handling all of this. Is his family. He should be the one handling the communication and she should just be the backup. Anyway, so she said Paul was beside her. "I explained that we were trying to figure out our wedding plans and that we have been trying to figure out why they were unwilling to go and that each time we bring it up, we get a different answer, so we were confused. His sister was not very nice and said, "You would have thought you got the point with us not replying, and that she was working on grading papers and wasn't paying attention to this phone conversation as it wasn't her priority." She said that she only gets 10 days off in a school year and she's not using them on a cruise because if her daughter gets sick, she won't have time to take. That makes sense. She also said, "How many times do I have to tell you no, no, no?" His mother said that she didn't feel safe going to those ports and felt she was going to get kidnapped. I explained if they didn't feel comfortable that they didn't need to get off the ship for the ports. This was the first time that his sister had mentioned her time being an issue to this effect. My fiance had said that as well, and she said they had talked about it before, and that's on him for not remembering. He's a full-time student going for his nurse practitioner and has clinicals every day, and we are kind of on opposite schedules right now, so there's a lot going on. They both wanted us to get married before the cruise and then just go on the cruise, but that's not what we wanted to do. His mom listed the people who would be there for the small ceremony and said everyone else could come to the party after the cruise to celebrate. I just didn't realize she was choosing the guests that would be at our wedding ceremony. So we said we'd figure something out. That night, Paul and I were talking and said about changing the cruise line and looking for the summer of 2027. And then his sister wouldn't have the excuse of no time and it would be 2 different ports. No, she would still have the same excuse of no time. Oh, the summer because she would be off. She said the cruise line also offers the ceremony to take place on the ship prior to setting sail, and then the people who don't want to be on the cruise can leave, and the people who are on the cruise with us can stay. Okay, so that sounds like a good compromise. She said, so with the help of my family who have been so supportive and apologetic that we have to go through all of this, we wrote a message and Paul sent it in the group chat yesterday in the late morning. Boy, this is some drama. So I will applaud OP, okay? Because every excuse that the sister and the mother come up with, they are trying to implement solutions, okay? They say, oh, the kid won't have nothing to do. Okay, well, we have this, and then we got other kids. We got the cruise has a lot of stuff for the kids. Somebody can watch the kid for a day. Then it's, oh, we don't like the ports. You don't even got to get off the boat. Then it's, oh, we like literally every excuse they come up with. Oh, we can't afford it. We'll pay for it. They are really trying. I do feel that they are really trying. This is the last thing. So OP's fiance sent a message to his mother and sister, which I feel like he should have been the one sending the messages in the first place, but whatever. Said, "Good morning. We just wanted to say that we are so sorry you feel like we wanted to get married without you. Both of us want you guys to be there, as well as some of my close friends to be there, even though we are planning a small wedding. We're sorry that it may have come off as us being pushy when asking so many times, but we were just really trying to find a way to make it work so we could have our dream wedding. That's just the only idea that we were truly excited about and could imagine for our wedding day. With that being said, we think we found a way to compromise so everyone can get what they would like. Royal Caribbean offers a wedding package where we can get married on the ship the day we would be leaving and allows people who would not attend the cruise to attend the wedding and then depart the ship before we leave for the cruise. We are only looking at dates in the summer of 2027 so that it won't affect your school days. This seems like it would work out the best for everyone since it's really important to us to be married on the cruise. Karen, sister, when in June are you guys normally done? And when do you start back up? We have to talk to a wedding coordinator through Royal Caribbean to get more information regarding which ships and ports this is feasible on. We would really love for you guys to join us on the cruise, but if that's not something you're interested in, at least you could still be there for our wedding. Again, this is just a thought." And then she said, "We got no reply at all from either of them. We're at a loss." Look, they really tried, bro. They even came up with the solution I just feel like the mom and the sister are being petty for whatever reason. It's really not making sense to me at this point. Like, come on now. What can you say now? They're literally moving the dates. So that means OP's entire side of the family has to move around all of their schedules. They're doing that to accommodate them. They have to move around all of their previously planned trip plans. Somebody said a multiple night cruise is a huge commitment to expect them to make. It's your choice where your wedding is and when. It's their choice to come. They don't have to justify their decision. You've changed this from a destination wedding and perhaps a dinner celebration later with those who can't come to you demanding they attend whether they would enjoy it or not. I don't agree. I did agree a multiple night cruise is a huge commitment, and that's true, but they're not asking them to do that anymore. They just said you can come on the boat, see the wedding, leave the boat. You don't even have to stay on the cruise. Somebody said, this is BS, and I can't believe you're getting any upvotes. They're not demanding anything. They also asked his mom and sister before they planned anything if they'd be open to a cruise, and they said yes. Now they're offering to hold their wedding on a docked boat 2 years from now. This is not a big ask, like, at all. It really is not. It really is not. It really is not. Somebody said, this is a lot of drama. His mother and sister are being really difficult. That being said, I would be really annoyed if I was expected to go on a cruise for a wedding. I have zero desire to attend a floating norovirus vessel, and you initially gave them a weekend's notice to book after you and your family already booked your trip. I can see why they're hurt, but you have since offered compromises and they are digging in. There are too many discussions surrounding your destination wedding. When you have a destination wedding, you take the risk of people not attending. It could be they can't get the time off of work or cannot afford the trip. You have to respect their no the first time. I kind of agree with them there, but they also have a point. It's kind of like I said, if you want to have a destination wedding, you also have to accept the risk that some people just might not be able to come. Somebody said, grow up. Grow up. You hurt his family with this tacky, cheap cruise ship nonsense. They don't have enough vacation time to use. You're really starting your marriage out in the worst possible way. Not everything is about you. You need to think of his family as well. It's okay. They can attend his second wedding in a couple of years. Yo. OP responded, I think you may have missed the part where we made it that they wouldn't have to use their PTO, and maybe the parts where we changed the whole plans to suit them and their needs, since it's clearly all about us and we weren't flexible with their needs at all. Yeah, I don't get what they're saying. I feel like her and her fiance really tried to accommodate the family. Child, this is a mess. She got any more updates? This was 4 days ago. Nope, not yet. Whoo, child. Next story. What's a wedding without some family drama? Some backstory. My father is recently sober, a little over a year now. He's drank for most of my 34 years of life. I recently got engaged, and it's supposed to be a beautiful time in my life. My fiance and I just had a small gathering to celebrate our engagement with some family and their significant others. My father and mother have been legally separated for years, at least 15 years. And this was the first time seeing each other in person in a couple of years. My mother has been seeing someone for a few years, maybe 5, and my father was not pleased when he heard about it and went full into his drinking and illicit substances. It's a long story, but that led to us not speaking for almost a year, complete no contact. We reconnected about a year later. I wonder why they haven't just gotten a divorce. Separated for 15 years. Well, he says legally separated, but still, why not just get a divorce? That's a long time. Cut the ties. Opie said, fast forward to the engagement party. Everyone was on their best behavior. It was a great time. Then I get a phone call from my father a few days after the party. He was upset because my mom's significant other was there in our group pictures and basically just existing. I guess it triggered him, and stuff like this makes him want to consume alcohol. I told him I invited him, my mom's significant other, because he's nice to me and my mother. My father said something along the lines of, he's not family. He shouldn't even been in the pictures. It's disrespectful. Blah, blah, blah. I wanted a group photo with everyone, so what the heck? It wasn't his party to decide that. Mind you, First thing I made sure when we got to the gathering was to not have them sit next to each other. He's talked to his therapist and I don't know what he tells them. He keeps playing the victim and wanting all of us to feel sorry for him. It's not my problem he's an addict. My mother is so over hearing about me and my siblings having to deal with his BS. She knows firsthand how he was when he wasn't sober. She said it sounds like he hasn't changed a bit. I don't think he has a very good therapist, to be honest. Anyway, I'm just very frustrated and it's making me feel down about wedding planning and stuff. It makes me not want to include him in anything if he's all hurt about who I invite. It's not like I'm treating my mom's significant other like a father figure. He's not. It's just all so ridiculous and I needed to vent. I don't know what it's like to deal with anybody with addiction. So I don't know, but I would have to tend to agree that his addiction is not your problem. You can't restrict your life and yourself and the things that you want to do just because, I have to worry about, so-and-so. Like, he has to manage himself. He has to know, okay, if so-and-so is going to be here, maybe I'll just remove myself from the situation because I know that that's going to be a trigger for me or something like that. Now, obviously, if you're blatantly trying to serve him shots of Jack Daniels, that's one thing. But you should be able to have the people who you want at the events that you want them to be at surrounding your wedding and getting married and just in your life in general. You shouldn't have to restrict the people who you invite just because he's dealing with his things. Somebody said dad's mental health and sobriety are his responsibility to manage and protect. Part of that is him making those things a priority. He probably should not put himself in the position to be triggered and not attend if it's too difficult for him. Exactly. Somebody said, call your dad out on his sobriety journey. I've been sober for 11 years and a core pillar of my sobriety involves minding my own business, involves giving up trying to control everyone and every situation around me, involves giving up on creating drama everywhere I go, and creating resentment that will eat me alive inside. I'm really sorry you have to deal with your dry drunk father, OP. Put your foot down and tell him how it's going to be. And if he cops an attitude, tell him to talk to his sponsor, to his group, and to his therapist, if he actually has any of those. They cooked with that. They ate him up a little bit with that. I cannot lie. Okay, next story. RSVPs, are they truly that difficult? We are getting married in December. It is kind of a destination wedding of sorts. We sent out invitations the 1st of August. Invitations that had the RSVP card attached with a stamp and return address already on them. We also included a piece of paper with the wedding website so people could respond there and select their choice of plated meal. Also included in bold letters was the RSVP by October 15th statement, which we have now stretched to November 1st thanks to certain outstanding family member issues. This is an elaborate wedding plan requiring a response from guests due to cost. It's a plated dinner reception. Also, the ceremony is in an area where they will have to put out enough chairs for designated attendees. We sent out over 180 invites. We have gotten 7 RSVP cards back through the mail. All 7 were declines. Okay, the website fared a bit better. We received about 75 responses there, and they actually picked food without being prompted. Okay, so that's 75, almost half. Nearly almost half, but barely. They said, but the rest I have emailed, called, and messaged on Messenger and through text numerous times. I get read receipts saying the messages are seen or read and still no response. Is it really that hard to be polite and just say yes or no? It is so rude and tacky to just ignore people. I can guarantee that if I delete them from the list, they will then show up at the wedding saying they were invited, and some of these are local business owners that we are close with. I guarantee they would be upset if we didn't set an appointment or make a reservation before showing up. Are we the only ones dealing with this juvenile behavior? That would piss me off. That would piss me off because I host a lot of things for my friends. And sometimes some people don't RSVP, they don't let me know if they're coming. So it is kind of annoying being like, okay, well, I think, this many people are going to come, but I'll send out a text or, hey, like this message. Like I made a whole group chat with a whole bunch of people that I know here. Like this message if you want to come, da da da. And only like a few handful of people will respond. And then I'll text some people off to the side directly and they'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to come. I didn't realize I have to. It's like, did you even read the message? Like, so then it made me feel like, well, let me stop inviting certain people. Let me just invite the people who always respond. Because I feel like even if you say, oh, hey, I'm sorry, I couldn't make it because of this. Or if you say, like, yeah, exactly. Like, if you can't make it, I feel like even just saying that you can't make it is better than just not responding at all. And then also, if you do plan on coming, but you don't respond, that's also weird too. It annoys me. It does. So I feel their pain. And if you are following up with people, they've received the message and then they're still not responding, that would really infuriate me. It really would. So I get it. Somebody said, wow, I'm sorry you're having to deal with this. If I were you, I'd strongly consider making a video with you and your fiance saying, hey, we're sorry you're not attending our wedding. We're still sending you a link to the wedding photos after our honeymoon, hugs and kisses, and then strike them off the list. OP said, great response idea, thanks. And then that first person said, it will definitely lead to some hastily made responses. No, we want to come. But also some who will answer to this passive-aggressive attempt with aggressive or hostile answers. Then you know who to not only cut from the wedding, but also your life. And then OP responded, to be honest, I've already figured out a few of those that need to be weeded out from our lives. People who actually asked ahead of time to be included so they could be seen. This is just my personal opinion too, separate from the it thing. 180 people? That just seems like a lot of people. I don't even think I could come up with, and this is assuming that I would have to come up with 90 because my fiance would come up with the other 90. I don't think I could compile a list of 90 people who I realistically would want at my wedding. And I think it's a bit telling that OP was like, some of the people we are invited are local business owners that we're close with. Why are you inviting local business owners to your wedding? I mean, I guess if you really have that rapport with them, but it just seems like they literally thought of everyone they know. The bus driver, the dentist, the local business owner, the man at the hot dog stand. And so while I understand the sentiment and I understand that it's annoying when people don't RSVP, I'm also like, what did you really expect? Because you're not really inviting people who, or at least it sounds like you're not really inviting people who you are super close with. You're just trying to get seat fillers. 180? I don't know. I never had to plan a wedding and I've only been to a handful and neither one of them had 180 people. Those of you who have been married, comment below. Is that an exorbitant amount of people for a wedding? It seems like a lot. 180? There's nothing else there. Let me try to find one more that we can do. Ooh, this looks interesting. The Bouquet Toss Incident, among other things. 19 years ago, I had a pretty standard wedding. Church ceremony, reception at my aunt's house nearby, white dress, happy families, etc. After 5 years of dating and 3 years of long distance, we just wanted to get married and didn't really care about having some over-the-top event. The only thing we did that was even slightly extra was hire a bagpiper to play us out of the church at the end of the ceremony. We thought that would be the thing that people remembered about our wedding. We were so wrong. Little did we know the bride and groom can plan a tasteful, no-drama affair, but they can't control the choices of their friends and family. 3 things that happened at my wedding. 1, at the rehearsal dinner, my father-in-law decided not to follow the warning on his medication, had wine, and passed out cold on the floor in the middle of the room. Luckily, my future sister-in-law was a doctor and she was on hand. Father-in-law was fine, but had to be helped out of the venue by my brother-in-law. But it was all cool. because most of my family was too drunk to notice. Oh my gosh. The morning of the wedding, my husband's uncle Bob went to the hotel breakfast buffet and discovered something he called giant raisins, and he ate about a dozen. Several hours later, in the middle of the ceremony, there was some bustle on the groom's side as Uncle Bob suddenly got up from his place in the pew and rushed out of the chapel. It turns out those giant raisins were prunes. Oh, Bob spent the rest of the ceremony on the toilet in the groom's area, having a massive bowel movement. Oh man. 3, then came the reception. My maid of honor, Kelly, who was my oldest childhood friend, was eager for her boyfriend to propose. For some reason that still makes 0 sense to me, she thought her engagement story should begin with her catching my bouquet. She told me this once in passing, but I thought she was joking, laughed it off, and didn't think of it again. Kelly was a perfect maid of honor, and in addition to her boyfriend, her mom, dad, and grandmother also attended. So, when the big moment came, I stood on the balcony and tossed the bouquet. As I struggled to turn around in my dress, I heard the typical giggles and gasped, followed by clapping. Then I saw that the bouquet had been caught by my friend, Alicia, who had just been dumped by her boyfriend and found out her father had terminal cancer. Oh my goodness! So I was thrilled she got a little win. Alicia was standing right next to Kelly, who looked disappointed, but I didn't think on it too much because I had to get changed for our big reception exit. I quickly rushed inside so my mom could come help me change out of my dress. I waited and waited, but no one came for at least 15 minutes. Finally, my mom came in, white as a sheet, lips pursed. I asked her what was wrong, but all she would say was that Kelly was mad, really mad, about not catching the bouquet. Then she helped me get changed and we went on our way. About an hour later, I was sitting in our honeymoon suite at a nearby hotel with my husband, recounting the day. As we were discussing the reception, I mentioned that I was happy Alicia had caught the bouquet and that my mom had said something about Kelly being mad. My husband turned serious and said that she was more than mad. Apparently, after I walked off the balcony, Kelly had looked straight at Alicia and shouted, "Bitch!" in front of everyone. She then refused to talk to anyone, stared daggers at Alicia, scowled the rest of the reception, and after my husband and I had left, she stormed off with her boyfriend trailing behind her. I was stunned. I hadn't taken her seriously. It's just a bunch of flowers. But after the honeymoon, I got confirmation from pretty much everyone, my in-laws, my other bridesmaids, even my boss, that she had indeed screamed the B word at Alicia in front of all the assembled guests. I didn't really need any more confirmation, but I got it anyway. A few weeks later, when we got the wedding photos, the photographer caught the whole thing. The bouquet toss, Kelly narrowly missing it, Alicia smiling, then Kelly saying something while Alicia looked stunned. As if that wasn't enough, the photographer spent a lot of the remaining reception following Kelly around. He caught her scowling, sulking, staring daggers, even captured her storming off to her car with the boyfriend. Yo, the photographer is messy. I'm weak. So to this day, people who attended my wedding tell me they will always remember it. Not because it was a classy, tasteful affair, but because my maid of honor threw one hell of a temper tantrum after her engagement story got ruined. Did I mention we had a bagpiper? Yo, see, and that's the thing. Sometimes you could never really know what's going to go on at the wedding. Like, everything could be planned to a T. It could be going smoothly. But whenever you have people involved, something is bound to go wrong. That is crazy. Okay, for the palate cleanser today, I saw this cute little video of these window cleaners at the children's hospital on Halloween. They're all dressed in different superhero costumes and they're on their little, I don't know what you call the lines they be hanging off the side of the building with. They're obviously not cleaning windows right now, but they're like using their lines or whatever to say hi to all the children through the window, and then some of them even like go inside and visit the rooms and stuff. So I just thought it was so touching. It has some copyright music, so I'm gonna have to add my own music, but I'll play the video for you. All right. I just thought that video was so cute and touching, and some of the comments were really sweet too. Somebody said, "You know those men go home and cry after every shift and hug their babies a little tighter." Somebody else said, "I will never complain about walking my kids around in the cold to trick or treat again." Someone else, "Not all heroes wear capes, but today they did." Another comment, "Woody has been waiting 364 days for this moment." Woody was turning tricks on the window, okay? Somebody said, "I'm currently in the hospital from surgery, and Captain America was cleaning the windows on Halloween." That's so cute. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.